A lot of people have been asking me about how do I feel about the Houston Rockets, how do I feel about the pairing of James Harden and Russell Westbrook in the upcoming 2019-2020 NBA season. I will say that you have two of the top 10 players in the NBA both on the same team. You have two of the last three MVPs both playing on the same team. So I don't think your team is going to get any worse. I feel like they're going to get better, whether that's in the regular season or whether that is in more postseason success going forward. I feel like these two players are both studs. These two players are both dynamics. Now, people are worried about both of these players being high usage rated players, both of these players being very ball dominant. How's that going to work with James Harden? Because James Harden needs the ball and Russell Westbrook needs the ball. Who's going to make more of the sacrifice? Now, I would say both of these players individually, when it comes to terms of their numbers, need to make a sacrifice. James Harden, which averaged 36 points per game, shot 44% from the field, 36% from the three-point line, 6 rebounds, 7 assists per game. Should have been the MVP in my opinion. He put up a crazy historical season last year. Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double for the third straight season, averaged 22 points per game, shot only 41% from the field and 29% from the three-point line, but still averaged 11 rebounds and 10 assists per game. So both of these guys individually are studs when it comes to putting up a lot of production. But in order for it to work, I feel that that production is going to have to drop. James Harden's not going to average 36 points per game. Russell Westbrook's probably not going to average another triple-double. If you're focused on winning and trying to get further in the playoffs and possibly compete for a championship, you can't necessarily worry about the numbers and the stats anymore. I think both of these players know that because I know both of these players are hungry for a championship. We've seen the article with James Harden that came out, him talking about he's 30 years old. He still wants to win 2-3 championships. That's a goal of his. We know Russell Westbrook wants to win very, very bad. So individually, their stats and their numbers and production is going to take a drop a little bit. But far as the sacrifice, I feel that Russell Westbrook kind of has to play the point guard position, and he's going to have the ball in his hands more so than James Harden, because James Harden is a better offensive player. Yes, you want the ball in James Harden's hands. He's going to have the ball, but you also want James Harden to not have to work as hard as he has done over the past few seasons with the Houston Rockets. You want James Harden coming off screens. You want James Harden running a fast break. You want James Harden spotting up to get a quick pass from Russell Westbrook and hit a jump shot. That's what you want for James Harden if you're the Houston Rockets, if you're Mike D'Antoni, and if you want to succeed, because James Harden cannot be dribbling the ball, and that's a lot of work when you're dribbling the ball 15 times in one possession and going and hit a step-back jumper, a step-back shot. That is a lot of work. And with Russell Westbrook not being the type of offensive player that James Harden is, it makes sense for Russell Westbrook to be the facilitator, Russell Westbrook to pass the ball, which he has shown that he's comfortable doing. He's led the league in assists the past 3 seasons. So I feel like that's the only way it can work. And I'm not saying that James Harden is not going to be the focal point of the offense. I'm not saying that James Harden shouldn't have the ball in his hands. I just want James Harden to get easier shots. If James Harden and Mike D'Antoni and Russell Westbrook can figure out a way for James Harden to still be elite, getting open shots, then I said he may not average 36 points per game, but he averaged 36 points per game being the guy that basically created his own offense. Imagine if he could create his own offense and get easier shots. He could. I would say he may not average 36. He could average the same amount of points this upcoming season. So we don't know. But still, that being said, James Harden just needs to get easier shots, and Russell Westbrook being the type of dynamic finisher, type of player that can get to the rim at will. He's going to draw a lot of attention because he can create off the dribble and score his own shot and get his own shot as well. So I feel that with that pairing of James Harden and Russell Westbrook, if James Harden's getting easier shots, if Russell Westbrook is facilitating more, if Russell Westbrook improves on his shooting and get back to the shooting that he did in his 2017 MVP season when his jump shot was last on and very consistent, I feel like the Houston Rockets are going to be a seriously title contender. And I got to see them play on the floor and see them play with each other. But if they do those things, then they're just as good as any team in the NBA. And I wouldn't be surprised if they at least make it to the Western Conference Finals. And I'm very excited for watching Russell Westbrook and James Harden team up again And I think they're going to prove a lot of people wrong because a lot of people feel like they aren't going to work well together. But they said the same thing about Chris Paul and James Harden. Look at them. They almost went to the championship and beat the Golden State Warriors. And they were the only team that's taken the Golden State Warriors to a Game 7 in the tenure of Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. So I think these two can be very, very lethal if everything comes together.